Welcome back to the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship. My name is Melly. My co-host Ben is with me, and well, there's something big waiting for us, Ben.
Fantastic to have the second round of the ADAC GT Masters here at the ADAC Simracing Expo, a 4-round championship, all offline events at events across Germany, exactly. And the second one right here.
And the first one was took place a couple of months ago here at the Nürburgring. The third episode will be at Hockenheim and the fourth at Sachsenring. So this is going to be a very exciting one. So please, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a very special guest today. So put your hands together for Esports Manager of RaceRoom, Thomas Bienert. That's your microphone. And yes, thank you so much for joining us here today as a first representative of the race here at the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship. Are you looking forward to the race?
Yeah, obviously. I'm pretty happy to be here. It's so exciting. The whole show is just enormously nice.
Yeah, we do have a couple of events happening around the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship. We already spoke about the first episode taking place here at the Nürburgring, and I already mentioned the third and fourth. So where is it again exactly, and what's going to happen there?
The third round will be at Hockenheim, right in the paddock. It will be super cool. We are right in the box. We will round the GT Masters. I'm excited to see what will happen. So I guess we will get lots of drivers there. Fourth round, last round, the final will be at Sachsenring. We will have 2 races at the same time in a VIP lounge. So we have super cool locations this year.
So we're about to meet the drivers that will be participating on the stage in a few moments' time. Just tell us quickly, in about 20 seconds, how they got to this position.
They had a chance to qualify online, so we got a leaderboard, and they could make their fastest lap times, and then they had a shootout over 2 races, and yeah, the 8 best drivers came here, and the rest can qualify every time.
Exactly, we have 8 permanent drivers and 4 that can qualify for each episode of the season during online qualifiers. But let's welcome our drivers.
So it's time to introduce the drivers here. And first up onto the stage, give a round of applause to André Santos. You see him running onto the stage there. He's energetic. He is ready to go. Our next driver out then. Welcome onto the stage, Moritz Lohner from Williams Esports. He's German. He represents the Williams Esports organization, and here he is heading on to the stage. Coming up next, give a round of applause for Alexandra Bromundsen, 19 years of age. And it's a little bit of a run from him as well. Of course, don't forget, if you're here at the arena, lots of information about these drivers up on your screens. Let's keep the energy going, shall we? As we welcome next onto the stage, 25 years of age from Euronics Gaming, it is Florian Haff. And coming up next, he is the one, the only, Eamon Murphy. Let's give some love to Eamon as he heads up onto the stage. And coming up next onto the stage, it is Richard Schaefer. Let's keep the applause coming up then. Our next driver coming up onto the stage. This is Jan Stange. Our eighth driver coming up onto the stage right now. He's doing a nice little sprint there. It is Balint Benedek. Our next driver, driver number 9. He's got the sim racing gloves on already. This is Tim Jarcel. You're going to see a lot of this driver over the course of the weekend. Our 10th driver from Williams Esports. This is Jack Heathley. Our next driver onto the stage. Here is 27 years old from Euronics Gaming. This is Kuba Brzezinski. No, it's not. It's Julian Kuntz. Well, he got a little bit of an early intro, but now he comes down the stairs and onto the stage. He is our final driver for Williams Esports. It is Kuba Brzezinski. There are your 12 drivers. Let's hand it back to our host, back to you, Melly and Ben.
Drivers, please take control of your rigs.
This is going to be exciting, Thomas. I'm so hyped for the very first race here in the Ring Arena. And I mean, Ben, we have some things to look out for. Thomas, you have all the information, the inside information we need, because you're not only a race representative at this point, you're also casting the German stream.
Yeah, for sure. So if we are done here, I will sprint in the back and then,
Go to your commentator booth, settle in, and then jump right into the race.
So we had one round already. How was that? How did that go? Who was the fastest? Who should we be looking out for in these 12 rigs?
In general, I would say, let's look for André Santos, who won the last race, but in the practice he was struggling a lot. Okay. So he just finished on P7. We got some new wildcard drivers, Jack Keithley, who's incredibly strong, and someone I didn't expect was Kuba Brzezinski, who just made a 1:45.9.
Okay, so one of our, suspects to look forward to in this race struggled, you said, in the qualification. Why could that be? Is it maybe the intimidating atmosphere here in the arena, having to compete on a stage in a new rig?
Not quite sure. They are professionals. They don't do that for the first time, but I think it's the choice of the car and maybe the rig.
Yeah, so you mentioned the choice of the car. This is a really interesting part of the ADAC GT Masters. There are, on RaceRoom, 5 different cars available in GT3 spec: BMW, Mercedes, Corvette, Porsche, and Audi. Now, across the season of 4, the drivers have to use all the cars, right?
Yeah, right. They really need to pick every single car, so they can actually miss one, but they have to pick for every race another car.
So I can't pick the Mercedes or the Porsche twice in a row?
Nope.
Okay.
You need to be strategic, yeah. Exactly.
So that brings us to the strategy of the whole thing. So it's not only racing cars, it's much more. You always have to have a plan B in the back of your head if something doesn't work out. And I mean, we're going to see a 10 minutes qualifier soon, and then heading into a 40 minutes race. And
yeah, 40 minutes race is a significant amount of time to be focused in a rig. and the strategy of a pit stop as well.
Yeah, obviously. They need to have a mandatory pit stop, so they need to look where are they in the traffic, is there a possibility for an undercut or an overcut or whatsoever.
Crazy. So a lot of things that play into this race and can lead to our favorites, well, struggle and making the dark horse pass.
Now, you were talking about Michael Rachel?
Rechel.
Rachel, there you go. My German's not very good. Not here this weekend. How come? What happened?
We have all the time a online qualifier. So we got 4 wildcards, and they have the chance to beat the leaderboard, and the 4 fastest guys will qualify for this race. And he missed for 4,000.
Okay. Oh, that was really close.
And that means basically his opportunity to win the championship is finished now.
Yeah, we thought that before the practice, but then we saw Santos struggling, and we have some guys who are not there today who got lots of points, so probably he can come back.
Okay, so
Do
that's
they
the
use
beauty
these
of it.
rigs around on the first round? Is it exactly the same rig?
No, they didn't use that. We have quite completely different rigs for the first race, and we will have completely different rigs for the third and fourth race.
So you're testing our drivers, our racers to the very core. So the most flexible person can make it or has to make it. It's really exciting. So what track are we going to see?
Today?
Yes.
What you guess?
I know. I just wanted to cue you in
Take a
to
look at
let
the photo.
you the reveal.
What are the
Exactly.
cues?
Obviously, we are at the Nürburgring, and we will drive the Nürburgring, the full course track.
Oh, that's really exciting.
How much
I
do you
didn't
think
know
these
that.
rigs are going to be influencing the drivers and how they feel what's going on? This is a kind of an alien situation for some of these guys to be moving around and pushed around so much.
I mean, last year at the Simracing Expo, we had quite similar rigs.
Yeah.
They improved a little bit, so they are not completely out of the nothing, I would say. And I sit there yesterday, and it was super cool. I was instantly a little bit faster than to my normal time, so I guess
Really?
it will help.
Okay,
Wow.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the sensation of motion sickness when sitting for the first time in a racing rig that didn't move. Actually, I felt way more comfortable in a moving one because it's much realer. It's much closer to the real thing. So it's going to be an exciting race. And Thomas, what are you expecting from this race?
It's quite difficult. I think Julian Kunze will be very, very fast. I saw a Jack Keithley who just crushed all the times, but he was a little bit nervous. I mean, we saw him coming in, and he was not super confident. So probably we can see some hard fights from the very first turn.
And, you know, they're qualifying online effectively in a comfortable environment at home. This is quite different, right?
Just a little.
Totally.
It's kind of scary in a way.
But that also comes with the professionalization of sim racing, because sim racing is growing up. It's getting into more and bigger venues, and that also takes a toll on our racers, because we're getting away from the comfy rooms where we're just for ourselves. We have an audience, we have our representatives here, we have our team managers, we have moving rigs, so that adds a lot of pressure onto the race drivers' shoulders. So the good thing is they had the chance to try out the rigs before.
Yeah, we took our time. We explained every single step, especially the keyboard stuff, which can be a problem for someone who's not cautious enough, and that need to be tested. And we took our time, and I think everyone is now very confident with the rig itself.
And talking a little bit about setup, obviously they've all got different cars, or a lot of them will be driving different cars. Do they have a chance to change the setup of the cars, or is it fixed?
For our series, it is fixed. We just said the whole competition is around the cars, and so we fixed the setups, and everyone is like kind of on the same level then.
Okay.
So their fixed setups good. Did you make them?
Yeah, obviously. I shouldn't do that.
So this is really exciting. We're almost there. The qualifier is about to start, and you already said that the beauty of being in a venue of this size, in this atmosphere, can lead to seeing the dark horses pass our favorites. So I'm really excited to see what this race will hold for us. And I mean, let's talk again about the track, the Nürburgring Grand Prix, the fall track. So if you drive it, what corner do you pass, and when are you especially happy of passing that corner perfectly?
Yeah, obviously, the Yokohama, the first turn, it's the best point to overtake. You have a very long braking zone. It's super easy to pinpoint someone down, to bring him into a failure, because it's going down and you need to be very careful on the brake.
Let's take a quick look then. The calendar we've spoken about a little bit already. So there we are, round 3 effectively, although it's actually round 2. Hockenheim in the middle of September, and then Sachsenring at the end of September. So a pretty condensed schedule. Opportunity for these guys also to travel to the ADAC GT Masters event, which in itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, obviously. Last race on the Nürburgring, we were all in the starting grid, and it's a kind of familiar and nice feeling then.
And do you get some of the GT drivers from that grid poking their nose in to see what's happening with these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. They're all very, very keen. There's a quick look at the standings so far after the results from that first round. So as you say, André Santos leading, but Mikel not here with us. Moritz Lüttner, we've seen him in all kinds of categories here this weekend.
Yeah, we know Moritz Lüttner all the time as one of the best drivers at the Simracing Expo, so probably we can expect much. He didn't drive the practice at all. He just didn't show his full pace, so I guess he has something in the back.
Okay, so do you think that there are drivers that are certainly trying to hold back special strategies to make up for it in the second or third stop?
Yeah, no. They have just one stop and that's all.
Okay.
But I think, not everyone is showing everything. Yeah.
Okay, so that is really interesting. I mean, at this point, we're just the second event in. That means everything is still open. We have, of course, our eight drivers that are always there of the course of the 4 events, and of course of 4 wildcard drivers, and now we have our entry list.
Yeah, and the important bit about that is what cars they're using. You can see on that right-hand side the cars that they have chosen. So quite a few Mercedes in there by the looks of things, a couple of Audis as well, all different colours, which is good for our commentators.
That's true.
But it's a pretty big spread. It's not as though there is a car that's good for the Nürburgring.
Yeah, obviously. So we see a lot of drivers taking the BMW, which is this year a little different. And I would say it's a safe pick. So it's a question if we want to have the BMW or the Porsche at the end. The Mercedes is unbelievably strong this year. So we got someone who picked it last race, but this race it is more like, okay, I want definitely come to the podium if you pick the Mercedes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you so much for all of your words. I'm sorry that you've got another hour's worth of talking to still do. On the German stream, we do have Spanish, German, and English streams, so make sure you are on the correct language. But it's now time to go to the commentary.
Absolutely, and I'm really looking forward to this race. So guys, enjoy. Over to our casters.
Thank you very much, and welcome along to qualifying then for round 2 of this championship of the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship here from the Nürburgring. And, well, I tell you what, Connery, myself, Paul Smith, and Connery Maddock on the English commentary here for you today, and I'm really looking forward to this. This is a unique opportunity for us, and really getting to see some different drivers that we don't normally see from racing that we commentate on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have a little bit of diversity in terms of what we use here at the Simracing Expo. But we are currently watching right now up on your screens. We are just about 20 seconds away from getting ourselves into the qualifying session here today. So just a little bit of time now, just the last couple of moments of the practice session here, Paul, just trying to get, yourself set in those sim rigs.
Well, that's it. You want, because these drivers haven't had the opportunity to run in these rigs very much, they wanted to take every single second that they can to be able to get as much practice behind those rigs and behind the wheels of those rigs. Of course, you've got to get used to how the rig feels with the motion rig, as the guys on the stage were mentioning earlier on, and how these drivers cope with that and adjust to that, it will see who does well. But of course, another thing that was mentioned is the strategic element of this championship here. Having to run different cars at different tracks, it really brings out where do you choose those stronger, so-called stronger cars? Where do you choose to pick those? Do you pick those at your favourite tracks, the ones that you feel most confident at, or one that maybe you wouldn't normally do so well at?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that does get talked about in sim racing, and of course on the real life side of things as well, the balance of performance between all the cars in the class, or inside one class or in multi-class racing. And of course it's the exact same thing here in sim racing as well. We have open qualifying here for the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship, so everyone out there on track together. And but with the small caveat that when the clock hits 0, they're not able to finish their final laps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a tricky one for these drivers to be able to do that, and it catches a few people out on occasions. Of course, one man here who wants to do well is, of course, the person that we're looking at right now is Kuba Brzezinski, one of the invited drivers to this particular race. He's in the Mercedes AMG GT3 car, and really he'll be wanting to have a really good race here, Connery, and get a good qualifying session. It's a long race, mandatory pit stop, don't forget, with tyres, but you want to get that qualifying and get the good position here.
Yeah, absolutely. Track position coming at a premium. So if you start your race off on a good foot, then you're going to be looking and sitting pretty coming towards the middle and the end of the race. Don't forget, we do have that mandatory pit stop in effect here. It's a mandatory tire stop. These guys will be very good on fuel to the end. It's just the tires that they're going to have to change in the pit stop here today. We see Kuba Brzezinski currently on his outlap now. He's coming through the NGK chicane and then coming out of the Coca-Cola curve. He'll be able to get on his first flying lap.
Absolutely. So we'll be able to see what pace these drivers have got here around the Nürburgring. Of course, it's the full Grand Prix circuit on the Nürburgring here, because as they head down towards turn number 1 at the entry of the Mercedes arena, get your line right, get your braking right now, braking as straight a line as possible for the best effect into turn number 1. Get the car out to the right-hand side there for the best entry into turn number 2. We're looking on board then from Kuba's car, runs it out wide over the curbing there on the right through the left-hander. Keep it over to the left to get your best exit on the right-hander there, and now you're heading over. Get the car over to the right-hand side here, sorry, as you head into this left-hander at turn number 5 before you head on down to turn number 6. Get your, again, another line corner here. You've got to get your line right to get the run out of that corner down towards the Dunlop hairpin. Of course, a famous location, iconic corner on this circuit here on the Grand Prix loop. As he comes around that Dunlop corner, and how's he getting on? Well, the first sector is showing as purple on screen there, so we'll be seeing how he gets on up through the Schumacher S. As well, we'll look further back as well towards Julian Kunze in the Audi. On the brakes there, tricky corner, get that into the left-hander, now through the right-hander here towards the back straightaway, because this is crucial. You've got to get this one of the top speed sections through the right-hander, heading up towards the NGK chicane again. Of course, they're using the Grand Prix chicane. It's a very tight chicane, is this one. Through the left, through the right, up over the curbs. We'll be getting the first few times here as Florian Hasse now coming up, and we're starting to get those times coming in on screen as well. So across the line, and fastest time so far for Hasse, but of course other drivers behind yet to set qualifying times here, Conrad.
Yeah, absolutely. So as this qualifying draws on, we do have a good couple of cars coming across the line there. Jack Keithley currently in P2 as it stands, and we were talking at the stage, we're talking about him before the broadcast. He's going to be particularly quick coming into this event, and he seems to be proving it right now in qualifying, sitting at P2 as it stands, but we still have quite a bit of qualifying left to go.
Absolutely. Keith, of course, one of the most successful drivers in RaceRoom history, taking part in this race here. But here's Jan Stanger through that final corner once again. And across the line he'll go. He's got some green times there. 8th place so far for him in qualifying. So, of course, only a 10-minute qualifying session here, Connery. So these drivers have got to get their laps in and get them in as quickly as possible because you've got a limited amount of time. And it's a relatively long lap around here as well for these GT3 cars. So they're not going to get that many lap times in here.
Yeah, they're not. So it's really time is of the essence here at this stage. We see it. We have up on our pictures right now. Brzezinski currently in P11 as it stands. Not exactly ideal. That is second from last here on the stage. So he really needs to get a move on in qualifying here. Otherwise, he'll be starting on that back row of the grid. He's coming up towards the final couple of corners now. Just that run through Orsteiner and then up towards the NGK chicane. We're using the tight GP layout chicane instead of the WEC wide chicane here. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky one, especially when it comes to overtaking moves coming up into there. It's a bit of a better braking zone, so you can sling yourself down the inside. But out of the final corner then for Brzezinski, currently P11, but does he improve on his qualifying position for now? And that's a big, big improvement there for Brzezinski. He's up to P4.
Yeah, great position there for Brzezinski then. 4th place, second row of the grid at the moment. Of course, we've got 12 drivers in this competition, in this race. So these are some of the best drivers here on RaceRoom to be able to compete here. As now we'll look at the Audi then. Eamon Murphy, the Irishman, currently going through the Mercedes arena. Tricky section of the track to get right here. You can gain so much time just through this one section of track. It's very technical. And it's very, very difficult to get right, and it's all too easy to carry too much speed through those corners as they head down through 5 into 6. We've got more times changing on the timing screen as well. So definitely these drivers pushing on throughout this qualifying, getting used to how these cars handle and how the rigs handle as well, and that's going to be crucial. And the ones that adapt quickest, as we've been mentioning all the way through this broadcast, not just on here on commentary but also on the stage, they're the ones that are really going to shine here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, with qualifying continuing on here, the German in P3 there, heading his way towards the NGK chicane, and once again improving on P3, get himself on towards that front row. That is the task right now, but coming up towards the final corner, is he going to be able to do such a feat? Very, very wide line, very late apex as well, coming through that final corner. But for Santos, it's going to be across the line there, and it's going to not be an improvement for him. He will stay P3 for now.
Yeah, we're coming into the final couple of minutes of qualifying then. And these drivers will be basically getting on towards their final lap times here. So definitely they need to, if they're going to get a lap time in, that's certainly going to be a one. And well, look at that, Kuba Brzezinski up into second place now in qualifying here as they're moving through. Jan Stanger, the 9th place at the moment. He'll be wanting a little bit better as we're going through here. He can get well, no, he won't get one more lap in. So this is going to be his last lap. It was a very good point that you made earlier on as well, of course, as he's got green sectors, personal bests up on the big screens there up on the stage. And as they come through the final corner then, on board across the line, will he improve up to 6th place then for Stanger? Of course, when that time clock runs out to 0, that's it. No more time set, Connery. You mentioned it earlier. It's a very good point to point out. So that's going to be Stanger now. He's set for his qualifying.
Yep, he is absolutely set in this situation. We've got Vermont as well. P number 1 provisionally here. And of course, he can still look to try and improve on his lap time here. You don't have any sort of limit in terms of the amount of laps you can do. It's just the amount of laps that you can get in with the time limit. But the Frenchman sitting very, very pretty at the top of the timing sheets right now. He looks to start pole position.
Yeah, absolutely. Into the final 30 seconds of this qualifying session then, and the Frenchman looking to improve. These drivers that are in this section right now, they're going to be close as to whether they get their lap times in here. One man, I don't know whether he'll get it in, is this man in 8th place. And in that Audi, That's
Tim Yashel.
Tim Yashel, yeah, he's gonna be close there. 10 seconds remaining. So these drivers now, I don't think they're gonna get across the line there. And there is the qualifying results. Then Florian Haas, pole position ahead of Kuba Brzezinski, with Jack Keithley in third. André Santos fourth ahead of Julian Kunter. Jan Stanger in sixth place ahead of Alexandre Vermont, and then the rest of your grid running through. And well, we're getting ready for the start here, Connery. It's fast and frenetic, is this? Because these drivers, they get no break. We're straight into the race.
Exactly. Florian Haas getting himself up into pole position for this one for the Euronics Gaming car. So that's that bright yellow car that's on pole position. You see drivers
now, a light onto the brakes, showing his nose, trying to get into the mirrors there, and running wide there is Keithley, but you can afford to run it out wide there, get on the power earlier to carry the speed out the corner, but through the Schumacher S, Keithley's line looks absolutely planted, and Santos now putting the pressure on Hassa.
It looks so good for Keithley, seeing those drivers drop back a little bit through there, but Santos looking for an outside line through the left-hander on Hase, trying another line through the right-handed right after, but there we go. There's Yarshel actually trying to work his way through, thanks to the compromised line from Santos, trying to find a way around that car of Hase. comes Murphy in the background in that BMW as well, trying to work his way through. That's Vermont in that BMW, excuse me. So Santos losing many positions. He might lose another one here to Brzezinski coming through the Coca-Cola curve. A little bit of door barging in the middle of the corner, a little bit of a nudge off the corner as well, and Santos loses yet one more position.
You'd think this was touring car racing the way that move got done there. That was fantastic stuff. Getting the shoulders out there in that Mercedes, but down into turn number 1 once again. Already 4 minutes completed. We're into the 5th minute of this race, and these drivers just trying to get themselves settled down and get them set for the full race here. But Keithley has just pulled out a little bit of a gap at the front there, although as I say that, Hassa trying to get the better run through the infield. But Santos, there's the big talking point, was challenging for 3rd place earlier on in the previous lap. Challenging for 2nd place, should I say. Dropped down to 6th as we look at the battle there. Moritz Lerner trying to work his way through, up into 9th place and battling with Schaffer into that battle for 8th place, should I say, as Vermont now under pressure from Brzezinski. So Brzezinski trying to go down the inside Dunlop. It can be done, and he's done that as well. Got his nose into the inside of Dunlop, and that's job done there.
Yeah, Vermont is doing a good job side by side. Oh, through the back Schumacher-S's, the rubbing doors all the way through there. That was Hassa and Keithley for your race lead. Somehow they're able to get away with it. Keithley holds on to the race lead, but that was close stuff coming through the S's.
I tell you what, this we were saying about some of the earlier racing that we covered earlier on before the opening of the show here, but this is proper gloves off racing. There's no love lost between Keithley and Hassa here in the battle for 1st place, but Yarshel can now see himself an opportunity to get a 2nd place here. A bit deep into the NGK chicane. Compromise bounces over the curb, and Brzezinski's going to take the opportunity to go down the inside of the Audi. There is space there. The Audi driver has given the space as well. Brzezinski now, can he hold it to the inside? Can he stay ahead or stay alongside as they're heading towards turn number 1? And Yarshel giving him the little bit, giving him a car's width. That's all he has to do here. On the brakes now, hard onto the brakes there, and Brzezinski holding an inside line. Get on the power, get in front, and that's exactly what he's done there. And it's Mercedes 1, 2, and 3 at the front of your field.
Yeah, we did mention that the Mercedes are particularly strong at this racetrack. The Audi's not too far off. They're still there and competitive down the inside of the BMW. There goes Santos, door barging, coming up through turn 4. He's got the outside line, has the run off the corner. Here comes the other Audi in the background as well. This is Murphy on board with him, and he was only just there, looking to have an opportunity, but it really didn't fall his way. And that's sometimes what you have to do in this type of racing. If the guys ahead of you are fighting hammer and tongs, then you have to just sit there and ready to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. He's heading to the hairpin again, and Keithley, he had an issue through the hairpin last lap. Now up into the Schumacher S, and they decided not to go side by side through here. So these two really pushing on. Great shot here from the front bumper of Florian Hassa then. Down into the left-hand here, try and carry the speed, but get the car over to the left-hand side to open up the right-hander here. Carry the speed out of this corner because you're going to carry that speed all the way through, and that's what Keithley's done just that little bit better than Florian as they come down here. Of course, has a 1 minute 57.8 there, you could see on his timing there, and a 57.3 for Keithley between these two as we focus between the front and the back bumpers of these two. But it's great how the whole field, there's only 10 seconds covering the entire field in this race then, so not much of a field spread here. That's good to see in these early stages, and we're already 8 minutes into this race.
Yeah, it's been absolutely bonkers for the first 8 minutes of this race. Jack Keithley, he's actually going very defensive here, down in towards turn 1. He's scared of the dive bomb down the inside, but he might get one on the outside. Yeah, Florian Haas, big wide line into the corner, looking for the cutback move. It might just work out for him. He has to hold it around the outside for the next 2 turns, and then he'll have the inside line for turn 4, but it's not exactly going to work out. He's going to dive it in for turn 3. A little bit of contact between the two of them, and that's Hasse sliding his way through.
Oh, this is proper battle in GT racing here. Absolutely fantastic stuff to watch here. And I tell you what, these two battling out has brought Brzezinski into this battle. Little bit of front to rear contact from Keithley there. That'll unsettle Florian Hasse, and I think that's exactly what has happened here, because Hasse was compromised through the right-hander there, down into the Dunlop hairpin. Here comes Brzezinski, Keithley running wide, and he's saying, do you know what? Brzezinski, you have a go at him, and I'll try and follow you through. But they've got Yarshal there with them as well, and Santos as well. It's a 5-car pack.
I think for Keithley, I think he realized if he battled it out there, he might end up losing more than just the one position there, because everyone behind is so close and ready and waiting to pick up the pieces. Here comes Santos then, down the inside of Yarshal, through the left-hander. Is he able to make the pass complete? He is, so that's a good pass there from the Euronics Gaming driver as he disposes of Yarshal. He's up into P4 now, but we still see P1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basically in the same train.
Yeah, absolutely. And 6 and 7 are not that far behind either, so it's great battling onto the brakes then. Brzezinski putting the pressure on. You want to clip those curbs absolutely right, and that's exactly what Brzezinski did there. Into the final corner then. Some people using the curb there on the outside of the corner, heading in towards the final corner, whereas some don't, because they prefer not to unsettle the car as they go across the line once again. Things are just maybe... I don't want to, sort of threaten this, but they might be settling down.
No, they're
Although
not.
saying that, Brzezinski late onto the brakes, almost missed his braking point, and that's going to be Hasse getting the move back on the cutback. So the opportunity was there, as we've got side-by-side action as well between Moritz Lerner there and also Schaffer. So finally, those two are going to swap positions there. Lerner has been trying for a few laps to get through, but finally he has made it through.
Yeah, absolutely. So the currently second place BMW in the field. We have Santos and Keithley going side by side. Santos has the outside line in that Audi. Does he get run out of road? No, he just slides in behind. Just for now, he does have to be conscious of the fact that Yarshal is not too far behind in his own Audi. So if he messes up this move, then Yarshal might be able to make his way by. And I would have thought Santos would have learned that lesson after the first couple of laps.
To go through the Dunlop hairpin once again. These drivers fighting it out has just lost them that little bit of time ahead of them here, as we've still got a little bit side by side. This is Schaffer now and Kunze. Of course, Kunze was involved in an incident in lap 1 at the NGK chicane, so he's having to try and make a recovery drive here, and they're still side by side. Now Schaffer has got the inside line to the left-hander, but Kunze makes it through there, so around the outside up into 9th place in the Audi.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting to make some progress after the very lackluster start that Santos had. Florian Haas still leading the way in this one from Brzezinski. Your pole sitter is going to be a little bit further down the field, unfortunately. We have Jack Keithley in P3 here. It's actually Hasse. He did start pole position. I just get my words in the right order, but there we go. He has to try and defend that one coming down the pit straight then. Brzezinski, he's already shown that he's not afraid of these big old moves down into the hairpin, and that's why Hasse goes defensive almost instantaneously, no matter if he's 3 car lengths back or 1.
Yeah, I just noticed on the timing tower that you can see on the left-hand side, top left-hand side, that Benedek lost a lot of time and has moved down to 12th place. And do you know what? He's losing even more time here now. The question is, when do tyre stops start coming into play? Because they have to take that mandatory tyre stop here in this race. So it's all about strategy. When do you take that tyre stop? Because right now, if you're the leader, you stay out as long as you can to make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's definitely something that's going to be running through the drivers' heads. And unlike being on, doing this online, and sometimes you do have other people maybe spectating the session, some teammates able to give you some advice. Up there on the stage, you are all alone. You have to make all of your own decisions. There's no team boss that's going to tell you what to do. There's no spotters that's telling you what's going on. It's just you and the racetrack. So I'll be very interested to see the dynamic here when it comes towards the pit stops.
Well, I noticed from looking down on the stage that Benedek has taken the pit stop. You can see it. The tyre mark there on the graphics has changed to green as we'll look at this battle between 8th and 9th place. That's Moritz Lerner and Julian Kunze. So that's Williams versus Euronics Gaming. That's 2 big names in sim racing, battling it out here on track for 8th and 9th place. one in the BMW, that's Lerner, and one in the Audi, but we'll throw our attention up to the front here because we've still got close action going on between your two leaders as Hasse still in the lead ahead of Brzezinski, and Keithley is coming under intense pressure behind them in third place as Keithley actually losing the position, is he? Or is that a man coming onto pit road? So these are a few drivers coming onto pit road deciding to pull the trigger here. 26 minutes remaining in this race. They're taking their tyre stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting that fresh set of rubber on the cars, and then some of these drivers deciding to come down early. That says to me perhaps undercuts are on the cards here. So we'll have to see how that one turns out for those drivers that have come down with about 26 minutes remaining. So I think we'll see the bulk of the cars come down around about the halfway points, but those that are sort of stuck in traffic right now, they've come down and taken the early stops so they can pull off the undercut. But that will mean they'll be suffering a little bit more from the tyre wear at the end of the race.
Well, don't forget as well, they're trying to get themselves a little bit of clean air in this race. They're trying to get themselves the pace that they know they can drive, and if they've been stuck behind some others here in this race so far, you make that tyre change move and say, right, let's get myself some clean air. Let's try and get this done. So Santos, Kunze, and Murphy all making their pit stops. So just your top 8 still remaining to make their pit stops. And, Yarshal, 5th place at the moment in the Audi, putting the pressure on Vermont there in front of it in the BMW. So, of course, all German marks here in this particular event as they come through the left and then the right. Slightly wider line taken from Yarshal. Didn't quite get it on the apex either, but now down this back straight. It's tricky to say it's a back straight because it's got a kink in the middle of it, but it's flat out, so you might as well call it a straight.
Yeah, it's flat out in pretty much anything unless you have literally no downforce on the car. But Yarshal very close in towards the NGK chicane. That was very deep on the brakes indeed, trying to get every 10th of a second possible on the brakes. And, well, now he comes down on towards the pit lane. We see the split screen view of the driver coming down on towards pit lane. Jack Keithley is in. We still have Hasse that has stayed out in this situation, so he's really making the most of the clear air that he has inside the race lead here.
One thing that you can notice as well is while they're on the pit limiter, because that engine is sort of jerking them about, you can see with that motion rig how it's jerking the driver about. That's something that they won't have really experienced before. They maybe have tried 1 or 2 motion rigs before, but here in this event in front of the crowd as well, it'd be a new experience having that motion there. But this is one driver we've got to look at. This is the first of the drivers who's made the pit stops already. Santos, where is he going to come out as compared to Keithley? Because these two were battling it out when they made the pit stop.
We'll have to have a look once Santos gets himself up towards the start-finish line then. Where is Jack Keithley going to be able to file out in this situation? He has his stop complete, so that tyre marking turns green. Santos coming down into towards turn 1, and there we go. Santos just edging out ahead of Keithley as he's coming off of the pit lane in that Mercedes.
And important message there from the stewards. Jack Keithley, drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane. And if there's one thing that can ruin your race right now, it's having to go through the pit lane on the pit limiter.
Oh, that is absolutely catastrophic there for Jack Keithley. He'll have to bring that car down on towards the lane, and this isn't a long race at all. You can't really recover from something like that. So that is absolutely horrible for him, and now it will have to battle at the back of the field for a pittance of points, it has to be said. Florian Hasse, though, still not pitting at this stage, but in comes Brzezinski from P2. So this is going to be the big one. Does Hasse actually reply on this next lap?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see there on the rig, absolutely flat chatters there as they come down the start and finish straight. You can see when they put the brakes on, the sheer forces involved in hitting the brakes there from Florian Hasse. So that's your race leader, of course. It's just now as Brzezinski has gone to pit road. I believe Vermont has gone to pit road as well as Schafer. So it's on your race leader who is still out on track yet to pit. As there we see Moritz Lerner. Look at the pressure. Look at the concentration on that face there as he's looking around, making any adjustments that he needs to make ad hoc on the fly, and really having to work hard with the wheel as they come in to the NGK chicane. As now Santos through the right-hander at the end of the lap. Where is the rest of the pit stoppers going to come out compared to Santos? This is the one that we're looking at here, down the pit straight. And it's Brzezinski ahead. Yeah, absolutely. So Brzezinski done a good job, kept in front. They had that little bit of a gap, don't forget, before the pit stops. So he's kept that gap there for the time being, Connery. But these pit stops have come right about the halfway point. We're about 21 minutes remaining in this race.
Keithley coming in and out of the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. He is dead last in this situation, which is so unfortunate. And you know, it's a sort of lapse of concentration thing with the pit lane speeding. You know, you've got to make sure you maximize your entry, yes, but you need to get that car slowed all the way down. But meanwhile, battle out there on track. It is Moritz Luna versus Kunze here. So it's the battle of the Germans. It's BMW versus Audi on the way out of the Ford curve, on the way down towards Dunlop then. And now it's going to be Kunze on the attack here in that Audi. Not going to have a look for a move here down at the Dunlop hairpin, but keeping himself very close, pressed right up against the back bumper of that BMW of Luna. But coming up towards the Michael Schumacher S is now a good run through here for Kunze. Could really give him an opportunity down into the braking zone, but I think he had a little bit of a wiggle there, so he's not able to keep the momentum up. So Luna will stay ahead for now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a question of what if. What if, and if is the biggest word in motorsport, as here's your race leader, Hasse, on pit road. So the pit stops taking place. So this is who we're going to focus on now. Where is Hasse going to come out of the pits compared to Brzezinski as we're coming into that final corner? What is going to happen here in this one as they come through the final corner here? And Hasse now has made that pit stop, is coming out of pit road. You want to look to the right-hand side of the track. And there he is, and Brzezinski into the lead then. So Hasse, with that pit stop, drops down to second place now. You feel the spread out just that little bit here, so we've only got a couple of battles out on track, but still, it's now going to be interesting how the second half of the race goes, because we're into the last 19 minutes of this race. How is Hasse going to respond to that pit stop strategy?
Yeah, that is the thing. He has one lap fresher tyres, which may not be much in the grand scheme of things, but it might just give him the edge to be able to close up that around about, sort of hovering around 2-second gap, which is the gap between your race leader and P2 at this moment in time. Back through the field, though, we still have a good gaggle of cars looking to give us some fun here. That's Murphy there, the Irishman in the currently 9th place car, coming up through the right-hander of the Ford curve and then down towards Dunlop. Then that driver that we have on the left, I believe, is Santos from the green hood of the car. Absolutely fantastic views here. Shout out to the production team. They have a very difficult job to do, and they do it very well indeed. But Kuba Grinski, he's doing his job well as well. But the thing is, he just now needs to maintain this gap back to Hasse. He can't really let Hasse get any closer, otherwise he'll be feeling the pressure on himself.
Absolutely, that slipstream will come into effect, don't forget. And if you manage to break the slipstream, as we see so many times in races right across all different formats and simulations, you see that leader, if they're able to concentrate and just focus on their own lap times, they're able to pull away. But Brzezinski right now is in the lead by around about 1.5 seconds as they're going to come across the line here. And these two, Brzezinski, Hasse, still fighting it out at the front. But speaking of fighting it out further down your field, then Kunze still can't get ahead of Moritz Lerner as they're coming down the pit straight now. And there's no need to panic yet, Connery, is there? Because there's plenty of time still left in this race. But if you feel that you've got the faster car there, you want to get past, because you want to try and get up there with Santos up in third place. Although it's a big gap, it's about 8 seconds.
I mean, if we look at Kunze right now, he desperately wants to get back ahead of Luna, yes, and get actually into some clear air. Not really only for downforce reasons. I mean, the dirty air doesn't really affect these GT cars all that much. It's just the psychology of just seeing a driver ahead of you, and sometimes you pick up on their tendencies. Sometimes you just follow in their tire tracks and not run your own lines, and that just makes you slower. So Kunze very well aware of that fact right now, and you can see how close that Audi is towards the BMW, heading down in towards Dunlop. Is it going to be a big dive here for Kunze? Well, we're not going to know here as they head their way through Dunlop.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you look at the focus and concentration on these drivers, the perspiration, it is a warm day here today in the Nürburgring as, well, look at how close these two are there. Moritz Lerner. Oh, dive down the inside then from Kunze. Will he get the job done? He's holding the outside line here, but no, not for the time being. They're going to keep it as they were. And look who's coming into this now, Yarshal as well. Because they're battling it out here, they're slowing each other down, and Yarshal is coming into this battle here.
Yeah, absolutely. So the more that these guys fight, the more that Yarshal starts to think about, hey, guys, I want to join the party here. I want to get in on a little bit of this action. And now he's feeling the sort of the double toe behind these cars right now. So he's really bringing himself in contention. So it'll be a battle between one BMW and two Audis here. You would have to favor the Audis in this situation. We've already talked about how the track isn't really suited to that BMW. So it's going to be a struggle here for Lunda to hold on. But if he does hold on to P4, it would be an absolutely brilliant drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Through turn one then, one of the favourite overtaking spots around this circuit. But the tricky thing is that if you get the cutback, you can carry it through into turns 2 and 3. Look at the look down the inside there, but he's going to be on the outside for the right-hander. But get the cutback here, get on the power sooner, you can keep the pressure on. But no, it's not going to happen for the time being as they head on down towards turn number 5 in the bottom half of the circuit as through the right-hander they go and get that run out the corner. The Audi looking absolutely planted for Kunze, and this is going to be the opportunity now because he's coming up alongside, getting late braking on that BMW. He's going to keep it there. He's going to be given space as well by Moritz Lerner. Good driving between these two as they keep it side by side. Look at the size difference of the cars as well as they come up into the Schumacher S. A little bit of door banging there between the two of them, but still they carry on. 4th and 5th, still in the same order there, Connery.
Yeah, that big boy M8 is still leading the 3 cars around this racing circuit right now. The battle for P4 very, very hot indeed at this moment in time. Kunze, he had one opportunity and that didn't exactly go his way, but I think he'll have plenty more in the final 14 minutes here. He'll have a big move then up in towards the NGK chicane. It's going to be the outside line for the first apex. Deep on the brakes, he goes, get more contact as well between the two drivers as they go through the NGK chicane. There we go. Kunze still has the inside line for the Coca-Cola curve. Here comes Yarshal as well. He's looking to make this a 3-piece affair coming through the final corner, and that is going to be Kunze trying to make his way through again. Here comes the big pit wall block there from the BMW, but Kunze has been able to make his way through, and now he's going to be Yarshal perhaps getting himself involved. The BMW of Lona will look back, trying desperately to find a line on the outside here for turn 1. If he's able to make it work, he has the inside for the next 2 corners, but not able to keep it alongside that BMW. And now Yarshal, he didn't really capitalize on any of that. Surprisingly timid. I would have slung it down in there when they were trying to battle.
I think, you've still got 13 minutes remaining in this race. You've got to think that longer game. You've got the championship to fight for as well. Not that many rounds, of course, don't forget. 4 rounds of this championship, so you can't afford to lose points if you don't need to. And as it's on the round 2 of the championship, still plenty to go on. Look at him back in that car into the right-hander there. His Kunze is really pushing that Audi to the limit. And that BMW of Lerner now just dropping back that little bit so you feel that Audi, as he mentioned, that little bit quicker as, that lead battle, we've not really been watching it that much, but there's within about a second of each other, so we'll keep an eye on them. In fact, here we are, Kuba Brzezinski. It's about a second between the two of them. 1:55.5 there as the lap time that you saw on screen. And these drivers now, they're pushing. They're wanting to get that win. They want to get that victory. And Florian Haase trying his best to catch up in towards that first place. But still, they're keeping that gap between the two of them. and is ahead into that last corner. Time is running out, 12 minutes, but as you mentioned all along, it's still not the end of the world. It's still at the end of the game here, as we've got battling further down as well, because Stenger trying to make moves up into 9th place, because Murphy is not really having a fun day here in that BWT Audi.
Yeah, I think Stanger was one of the drivers that fell foul to that first lap, first corner incident, which is why he's been cycled back through the field somewhat. But Kunze now, you can see we're riding on board with him. There's the side-by-side, though. That's Murphy on the inside coming up through the first corner, and he's able to get the position complete. He goes up into P9.
Absolutely, you can see these drivers. Look at the force that they're having to use in the wheel. They're having to really fight these cars through these corners, and you can see the perspiration on these drivers. But look at the concentration and look at the battling that's going on, because Moritz Lerner is giving it a bit of a comeback down into the right-hander, and still Yashal is still hanging around there in 6th place, waiting patiently for the opportunity to come here as they head down towards the Dunlop hairpin once again. But Lerner is just, that BMW, as you mentioned, just isn't quite on the pace of the Audis here around this track, but Lerner is peddling it and doing a really good job of it.
Lerner is doing a brilliant job with what is considered the worst car for this racetrack. He's absolutely brilliant stuff, and that actually is a very good sign for him in the championship, because if he's able to pull off those good performances with theoretically the worst car for the track, then you know what's happening when he gets in a better car for him and a better car for the track. But here we go, battle for P1 then. Brzezinski has to be on the defensive here from Hasse. Look how close Hasse gets through the final corner. Slipstream Central here coming down the pit straight. I think we're going to see a move down in towards turn 1 here, Paul.
Yeah, potential we will do then. And defensive driving from Brzezinski. A little bit of weaving between the two of them there in towards turn number 1. These two have battled before the pit stops.
Oh.
Now look at that cutback attempt there from Hasse. Oh, a little bit of door banging, almost losing control. Well held there, Brzezinski, to keep that on the straight and narrow through 2, in towards 3. Looking for the dive there is Hasse, trying to use every bit of those tyre life that he's got there through the right-hander. Now towards turn number 5. He's really much single file through these next couple of corners, and the next opportunity really is at the Dunlop hairpin, but Brzezinski is feeling that pressure now.
Yeah, here's the pressure is being piled on by Florian Hasse. Really working the wheel with that AMG Mercedes, and now 3.5 tenths of a second is the gap between them, but you have to feel at this stage Hasse is the faster of the two of them. But can Brzezinski hold on for around about 9 minutes until we see the checkered flag out here today? Brzezinski, actually further back through the field, that's Yashel actually trying to work his way through on Moritz Lerner now, so Lerner is at risk of losing yet one more position here. He's basically in damage control mode given his car situation, doing a very good job of it, as I've already said, but he needs all the points that he can get.
But we'll look at that battle for your race lead here. And these two, Brzezinski and Hasse, doing a fantastic job out at the front of the field. They're not that far ahead of Santos, because Santos there is loitering in the background. He's not out this battle yet. He's only, 3 seconds behind. So he's got the opportunity coming up very shortly, but 8 minutes remaining. So time is starting to run out in this race, and opportunities starting to run out. But if these two battle away once again, like they did on last lap in towards the Mercedes Arena section, that's going to be music to the ears of Santos. Down into turn number 1 then, late braking from Hasse, trying that cutback move again. I think there's a little bit of a nudge there between the two of them, and again, Brzezinski, robust defense there, the Germans versus the Pole, and there's the move to the inside. Hasse, will he get the move done this time? He's down the inside, he's got the car in front, and that is a change of lead right there. A ballsy move was that one to really throw it down the inside, and finally Hasse has got the job done, but Brzezinski won't be giving this one up without a fight, as here he goes now.
Oh, Hasse taking no prisoners, and Brzezinski He looks to start a riot here as he heads his way down in towards the Dunlop hairpin. Brzezinski, he is not done with this race at all. Outside line for Dunlop. If he can hold it, he has a pretty good chance at making this pass complete, but through the middle of the corner, he doesn't have any speed. He doesn't have the line on the outside coming through there. Up through the Michael Schumacher S's now. He's still in prime position to try and get a move complete. The compromise line from Hasse. Here comes Brzezinski then in towards the left-hander. He does have the outside line. Can he make it work around there? There's big contact again. So many times these guys have come together, and Brzezinski, he's still in contention, still looking for that inside line. And oh, they make contact again and again and again. And now this is bringing the André Santos back into things if they're not too careful. Brzezinski, what does he do? Up in towards the NGK chicane then. Inside, outside, which way does he go? He just stays in line, but this is heating up, and this is going to end in tears if they're not too careful.
Oh, nearly tears from Brzezinski there, and he's slow at the chicane. Here comes Santos around the outside, up into second place, and in the space of one lap, Brzezinski goes from first place down to third now, so the third step of the podium here for Brzezinski, but here we go. He's not going to give this one up. The Audi trying to defend, trying to crowd him across to the pit wall. That's not going to work. Hard onto the brakes once again, and Brzezinski in that Mercedes trying to go to the inside, but the Audi's got the inside line for the next two corners, trying to assert dominance between the two of them, and that's exactly what's happening here. Cutback, love a bit of contact between the two of them, and still more contact. These drivers are giving us one heck of a show. Everyone should be showing their appreciation for these guys, because they're doing absolutely everything for our entertainment, and I tell you what, they're wanting to win and win hard, and this is what's happening here through 5 into 6 now, and Santos and Brzezinski, these two battling away, has meant that Hasse has been able to pull away 1.5 seconds on the last lap here between these two drivers battling it out, so that's going to help him out. We'll look further back as well, because Stanger is battling away with Eamon Murphy through the left-hander around the outside. Murphy's going to try and hold it around the outside of the right-hander in the Audi. These two are going to go side by side, and I tell you what, Stanger doing a fantastic job, but so too is Murphy to keep it side by side, and these two, they're keeping it clean into the hairpin. A little bit of paint swap in there.
Yeah, well, these guys, you bring it up a little bit earlier. They're treating this like a touring car race, not a GT race, as they're heading their way up towards the Michael Schumacher S. Is Stanger keeping himself ahead for now, but that Audi behind looking very, very strong indeed. We're looking at Moritz Lohner now, who I believe has just lost the position there to Yarshel, so Lohner can hold on no more. He needed to hold on for another 4 minutes, but the thing is, now in his rearview mirrors, he's got another BMW. He even have a little bit of a look trying to get back past Yarshel up in towards the NGK chicane, but really nothing doing coming through there. Unless he gets a good exit here out of the Coca-Cola curve, it's pretty much done for in terms of that particular battle. But don't doubt Moritz Lohner, he is very, very quick indeed, no matter what car that you throw him in, but it doesn't look like the greatest of exits there off of the final turn. Unless he goes to the absolute dive bomb here into one, it's pretty much done. Into
the final 4 minutes of this event here, and what a display that these drivers have been putting on for us. I mean, you look at it, the battle in here further down the order is 15 seconds behind your race leader, and that's from 4th place. You know, that just shows the gap that the front three have been able to pull away in this race here through the Mercedes arena once again, out the corner then, and Yarshel doing a good job. But look at Florian Hasse then at the front, pulled out the gap. That gap's come down just slightly on this last lap, but not enough really with the time remaining, Connery, for them to be able to have a challenge here from Brzezinski. Brzezinski is hoping for a mistake.
Yeah, that has to be the case right now. You can run qualifying laps all day, but that gap standing around about 1.5 seconds right now on the way down towards the left hand, coming in towards the final sector of the lap. A very comfortable gap here for Florian Hasse, but Brzezinski, he just needs to have something going his way. Maybe Hasse stepping a foot out of line, and then maybe he'll be able to challenge into the final couple of laps of this race. But right now, Hasse looking very, very strong indeed. Managing that gap back to Brzezinski, it just stays at around about that 1.5 second mark. Brzezinski can't really make any inroads at this stage.
Absolutely, as they come through the chicane once again. Time is running out for these drivers. And, well, Santos, it's been a a mixed bag for him really in this race, but it's come out well for him. He's the best of the Audis here, 3 seconds behind your race leader as they come across the line. 2 minutes remaining, so we might get another lap as well after this one. So this race is not done yet, and with the battling that we've been seeing so far here, we're going to have a surefire good finish as well. Not really talked about from all in this race here. In 7th place in the BMW, putting the pressure on Moritz Lerner there, who's also in the BMW. So the 3 BMWs there all together. Jack Keithley, after that speeding penalty, to be fair to him, 11th place, but it's 33 seconds behind the race leader when you think that he was leading early on.
What could have been for Jack Keithley if he didn't speed on pit lane? That is, he would have been involved in the battle with Hasse and Brzezinski, and we could have had an absolutely insane fight between those 3 cars for P1. But unfortunately for Jack Keithley, it wasn't to be in this situation. Just that small error coming down onto the pit lane, and it really puts him behind in this particular race. He was challenging for the big points right at the front of the field, but now he's only get a couple from potentially finishing in P11. But with the timer under a minute left here, of course, it all depends where Florian Hasse is when that clock hits 0. We think he's going to get himself past the start-finish line, so we are coming up to the last lap.
Yeah, absolutely. As they come through the right-hander there, and Brzezinski still within about 1.2 seconds. He has been closing that gap about a 10th every lap, so not really closing up enough time to be able to make it a bit of an exciting race. So come on, Florian, just back off a little bit. Give us a showcase finish here at the ADAC 2019 Sim Racing Expo here in the arena at the Nürburgring. And as well, we're going to come across the line, so we're going to be starting the final lap here. And well, these drivers, they've been pushed hard, and they've really been tested as well, not just in terms of on track, but in the motion rigs as well. But Connery, it's a real challenge to jump into something that you're not familiar with in terms of the rig, to be able to push and give us a race like we've seen today. Yeah,
it's been an absolutely brilliant performance for Hasse. He's had to go through the trial by fire, it has to be said, with Brzezinski able to pull off the undercut on him, able to pull up a fantastic defense for that race lead, but Hasse eventually got the better of his Polish counterpart there. We still have some battles like deeper in the field. We have Yarshel and Kunze that might be able to give us a little bit of a show at the end of this race, depending on what the pace is like between these 2 drivers right now on this final lap. But Yarshel, if he can gain this position up into P4, that's a healthy amount of points going into the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. As they coming through towards the bottom end of the circuit here, down towards the Dunlop hairpin. And these drivers, they're pushing on, and they're trying everything they can. Brzezinski's got that gap down to less than a second at the front of your field. So this one's not over, but it's maybe just a little bit too little too late. That's running wide over the curb there on towards the right-hander, but it's getting towards the end. And I tell you what, he's struggling here. And, well, these drivers, they're coming through towards the NGK chicane. What's going to happen here? Down into the chicane. Hasse still has enough of a gap to make it nice and simple for him. He's got one more corner to come through here, and Florian Hasse started on pole position, gets a bit of pressure there towards that last corner, but he's going to come across the line here to take victory here at the second round of the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship. What a victory there for Florian Hasse across the line.
Absolutely brilliant stuff indeed from Hasse. He was under pressure through perhaps the entirety of this race, but he was able to deal with it in quite confident fashion, able to dispose of Brzezinski, who comes home in P2, a very, very deserved P2 as well with how he was racing. Santos ends up P3. He was basically like a yo-yo up and down the field, at least in the first portion of the race, but he does round out your podium here today. A couple of drivers doing burnouts on the pit straight, but the man of the moment is Florian Hasse.
Absolutely then. So well done to Florian, also to Kuba and the rest of the field. Here's the results then. Florian Hasse, the victory here ahead of Kuba Brzezinski, and then it's Santos in third place. Gunter rounds out fourth place for him ahead of Yarshal in the other Audi. Then the first of the BMWs, Max Lerner ahead of Ramon. Scheffler with Stanger in ninth place. Eamon Murphy in 10th place in the Audi. Jack Keithley with the pit lane penalty. And then Benedek rounding out your results here in the 12. Fastest lap as well, going to your race winner here in Florian Hasse. And I tell you what, that's been a heck of a race there. And well, we are looking forward to handing it on over very shortly. But that was a brilliant race there on the RaceRoom. And these drivers have got it all. And well, here's Melly with your race winner.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our commentators that brought us so perfectly through this race. And of course, I'm standing here with our winner, Florian Hasse. Congratulations. This is your applause. And you're sweating like crazy. How hard was it?
It was very intense. I'm not very used to these motion sims, but I think we all know. But in the end, I could adjust very, very quick and could gain some good speed. And yeah, I was very lucky to get in front, even though I had some technical issues in the qualifying. I just had one lap to put it in. And yeah, I was happy with that. And the start was okay.
Yeah.
Some interesting Williams tactics in the first stint. And yeah. In the end, it went at one.
And I mean, a W is a W no matter how you make it, and you made it in this turn. We're going to see you race again in just a few moments, more or less. But Florian, take us through what happened throughout the race. Was there maybe a moment? I know that was a very, very close situation. What was going through your mind when you were head-to-head with Brzezinski?
That was all cool. In the first stint, I think it was a bit over the limit from Jack. And I think he knows it, but he is like he is, and I hope he's improving in this kind of driving style, but in the end, it went very good. Okay,
so perfect. So you are starting for Euronics Gaming here at Nürburgring at the ADAC 2019 Simracing Expo in the GT Masters, to get all the names correct. And how is it to be on a stage like this, competing in a surrounding like this?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest stage I've ever been to. I was here last year to the WTCR official release, and it was the same spot, but a different kind of action. But in the end, I think this is a good place to be, and I hope I can have another good race today.
Okay, you already mentioned that it was your first time competing in those motion rigs. And
not really. I was competing on the first event of the Nürburgring Esports, so I was a bit more used to these.
Okay, so the rigs were more familiar to you too.
Right.
Perfect. So, and I mean, Florian, we still have two rounds to go at Hockenheim and Sachsenring. Will you be there? Are you one of the permanent drivers?
Yeah, I'm one of the permanent drivers, and yeah, I took the best car today because I had a very, very bad run,
yeah.
and I hope to have.
So these points were very valuable for you.
Right, of course.
Okay, so looking on Hockenheim Ring, which is waiting right around the corner, so we don't have too much time in between the races. What is your plan? I mean, you can't spoil too much of your strategies, obviously.
Well,
but
the strategy is clear. I think we all have to choose the Corvette. I don't think anyone is able to drive another car apart of Alexander. He's taking the Benz, I think, and the rest will choose.
That sounds
Corvette.
perfect. All right, thank you so much so far. And I mean, you won the first race of the day. We're going to have a podium ceremony in just a few moments. How does it make you feel, knowing that you're going to...
Before the next race or after?
Of course. No, we will have it just in a bit.
Well, of course, I will take it. I'm the winner, so I have to do it.
Yeah, of course you have to do it. But do you think that it gives you a push for your morale going into the next race? Does it give you a benefit winning the first?
Of course, it is push, but I would prefer to have some more training in the career cup, because I was skipping the training for today. It meant that I have to deal with it.
Okay, perfect, Florian. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again. Guys, it is now time to look back on the highlights of this very race, so enjoy.
Let's get the podium ceremony then underway for the first race of the weekend here at Sim Racing Expo 2019. In third place in the ADAC GT Series, André Santos. In second position, Kuba Brzezinski. And your winner of the second round of the ADAC GT Master Series, Florian Hassett. Florian, where did you go? Come on.
There he is.
Where you came from? All right, congratulations, guys. So Thomas will present the trophy to our third position driver. He won last time out, but now a third place, André Santos. Second position to Williams Esports, Kuba Brzezinski. And the winner of round 2, Florian Hassett. Congratulations to our top 3.
What a wonderful race.
And now let's get the rest of the drivers onto our podium.
Perfect. And now, show your trophies. This is your moment. Put them in the air where they belong. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
And a round of applause to all of our drivers. An absolutely epic entertainment for the first race of our weekend here at Sim Racing Expo. We're going to leave you to take some photos of this momentous occasion.
Absolutely, and that was only the first one of many more to come over the course of today and tomorrow. And Ben, it is time for a teeny tiny break so we can get refreshments and get our snacks ready for the next race, which will be the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup. And I'm really excited for that one, Ben. And there's nothing more to say than see you back in just a few minutes.
8:10.